Lisa and Julie, it's your floor. Take it away.
All right. Thank you, George.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. Thank you for coming to our show today. Julie and I will be your co-hosts today, and we got an awesome show lined up for you. We have a very special guest who's coming back to us for the second time, and the first returning guest because he's so special. So you will be so glad you're here for a special treat. So before we go into our host, and let me just briefly remind you that we are on Facebook Live, and our High Tea Anytime is a community service for not only our Silicon Valley but the globe, to help us connect, share, inspire, and empower each other during this COVID time when we started this event. And so everyone, make sure that you have your camera open. We love to see your beautiful face, and make sure that if you need translation, you are already in the right channel for the language that you prefer to listen to. And so, are you ready for a fun and informative and empowering show today? Okay, Julie.
Yeah, hi.
Yeah, hi.
We're so honored.
Yes.
So thank you, Lisa, for introduce our high tea. Especially today, we have a amazing person as one of the best motivational leader, and also trainer for you anything, leadership, personal development, and sales, right? So Erica is one of the person Lisa, we follow all the time. You know, where over 1 year or longer, we've been following Erica's morning motivation talk training from 8:45 to 8 o'clock, right? 15 minutes. We are always looking forward. You know, sometimes I say, what am I going to do next? I remember Erica said, do the next very right thing, and then you will be right. So I take action, just that principle. So he has numerous principles, including thinking grow rich, right? And he have mentored with so many people. Leslie is one of them. I listened to Leslie together with Eric. Just amazing, you know. He's a combination professional motivation together. So we're so honored to have Eric. So the stage is yours, Eric.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. And I am excited to be with all of you here either this evening or this morning, you know, this afternoon, depending on what part of the world you're joining us from today. Welcome. Our topic is taking action. And I've put together a program here that I'm excited to share with all of you. Some of my best practices for motivating myself to take action on a daily basis. And I want to start off the session by setting an intention that you will experience a breakthrough from today's session. And I want you to just really open up your thinking to some extraordinary ideas coming into your mind to help you create the results that you want to create in your life. What would be different in your life if you could get yourself to take more action? I want you to think about that right now. What would be different for you? Would it be greater finances? Would you have improved health? Would you have improved relationship with your creator? Would you have time to do the things that are really important to you? If you could get yourself to take more action what would be different in your life? And I love this question. What's holding you back? One of the many things I learned from Tony Robbins, and I've studied, many of the great motivators and speakers of all time. I am a landmark graduate as well. I've done a lot of training through the years. And one of the things I learned from Tony Robbins is your brain will answer virtually any question you ask it. So if you say, what is holding you back, and see what shows up. And you might experience a breakthrough from just that one question of the answer. It might just become apparent to you of what it is that you need to do next. A breakthrough can happen at any moment. And it can happen for you right now out of asking yourself this question and just realizing something about yourself. I want to share with you a little bit about my background. I was very successful right out of high school. My first job I ever had right out of high school, I made over $100,000, which is pretty good, right? First job right out of high school, made over $100,000, but I didn't make over $100,000. I made over 100,000 hamburgers. I was a cook at McDonald's. And when I was a cook at McDonald's, I was going to community college, which you're supposed to go to for 2 years. And I went for 5 years and never graduated. I'm still a couple of units shy of my AA degree, the 2-year degree that you would get at a community college. And at that point in my life, I was the opposite of a person of action. If I had just shown up and done the minimum, I would have graduated from that school in 2 years. And I didn't know the ideas that I'm going to walk you through tonight. And I'm going to share with you in a little bit a moment in my life, a specific time when everything changed for me. And I became a person of action, and I made a decision on that day. And the decision was that I don't know if I'm going to accomplish my goals and dreams. But if I fall short, it will not be due to action. And something literally fundamentally shifted in my brain, and I just decided that I was going to step up. And I'm going to tell you that story in a little bit. And maybe you'll have an experience like that, where it'll just motivate you to take more action in your life. I ended up going into sales. This is a photo of me at my first sales job. I was very stylish back then with my purple pants and my matching plaid socks. And at this company, I was the bottom producer. And I missed quota 2 months in a row at the end of my first year working there. For an entire year, I'm producing poor results. And I was put on quota probation. I was told I had one more month to hit my quota, which was $10,000 in gross sales. So I had to hit this $10,000 sales volume in 1 month, or they were going to let me go. So I started looking for answers, and I met this gentleman, Dr. Donald Moyne. And he's my mentor, and now he's my business partner. But back then, he started coaching me. He started teaching me. He's a professional sales trainer. And I received professional sales training for the first time in my life. And with Dr. Moyne's ideas, I did $10,500 in gross sales, meaning I made quota by one sale. The next month, I did $51,000. I went from worst to first in 60 days, and I never have looked back. I've gone on to do millions and millions of dollars in sales. And what I learned from that experience is that selling is a learned skill. Well, tonight, our topic isn't sales. Our topic is action, which is applicable to all of you. Whether you're in sales or not, action is applicable to all of us. Now, here is your next golden nugget. Action is a skill set that can be learned. And this is one of the great possibilities that exists, is that any skill set can be learned. So you're like, I want to get better at Zoom. You can learn how to do that if you're really committed. I want to become a better leader. You can become a better leader if you're truly committed. I want to get better at delegating. I want to become more organized. I want to improve my fitness. These are all things that you can learn, and I want you to really hear me. Action is a skill set. Therefore, you can learn how to get better at action. You see, some people operate as if, well, I'm just not good at action. I'm a procrastinator. I hear that one all the time. Eric, I'm a procrastinator. And they say it as if it's a fixed mindset, and they have this thing called procrastination that they're going to have for the rest of their life. And the reality is that we all have the ability to take more action. Now, along the lines of procrastination, here's the good news for some of you. I want to tell you a very quick story. I was talking to this woman one time, and she said, Eric, I'm a procrastinator. I was like, all right. She keeps talking. A little bit later on in the conversation, she goes, and I graduated from UCLA, you know, really prestigious college, with a double major in 4 years. That's what she told me. I said, about 20 minutes ago, you said something to me, and I just want to let you know that what you said isn't true. She said, what did I tell you? I said, you said you're a procrastinator. She goes, I am a procrastinator. I said, no, you're not. I said, you graduated with a double major in 4 years. I went to community college for 5 years and didn't graduate. You're not a procrastinator. You probably just respond best with deadlines. Some of you, deadlines are what motivates you, and you've thought in your mind, I'm a procrastinator. No, your brain just responds to deadlines. All right, so back to my story. I get trained by Dr. Moyne. I then went to work for Tony Robbins. I worked for Tony for 3 years, and it was with Tony that I had this breakthrough that I'm going to tell you now about action. It was a turning point in my life. And this is me in Fiji with Tony Robbins at Tony's resort. Many years ago, when I was 27 years old, I'm 50 now. So 23 years ago, I was here with Tony at his resort, and we were having this conversation, just me and him, one-on-one. And I said, Tony, I'm a young guy, and I have some big hopes and big dreams, Tony, of things that I want to do with my life. Do you have any advice for me? And he said, Eric, as a matter of fact, I do. I said, what is it?
Huh?
He said,
还没，我都现在都等好晚，等到6点半才开始煮。
maybe we can get our master mute.
因为我都上班上到现在上几点？
你在上班呢？
没有，我现在没上，但是我都一直。
Okay, please
right.
unmute if
We
you
got
need.
it. Great work, team. So Tony says to me, I asked him if he had any advice. And he said, yes, I do have advice for you. I said, what is it? He said, Eric, my advice to you is to give up on your dreams. This is Tony Robbins, Mr. Motivation, Mr. Positive. He told me to give up on my dreams. I said, Tony, I don't understand. What do you mean give up on your dreams? He said, Eric, for where you want to get, it requires that you take massive action on a daily basis. He said, Eric, you don't take enough action, you'll never make it. Quit lying to yourself. This is Tony Robbins. Now, what did I want back when I was 27 years old? What I wanted is what we're creating right here, right now in this moment. I wanted to be able to share my gifts and talents and motivate and inspire and encourage people all over the world. Exactly what we're doing right now in multiple languages in this exact moment. So I saw what we're doing here right now back when I was 27. I had that vision. But Tony said, look, Eric, if you want to create events like this with right now in this moment what we're doing, he's like, you'll never make it. Quit lying to yourself. And I was not happy with what Tony said, but I began to think about what he said. And I want you to really listen for what you can get from what I'm about to tell you here. See if you can really get this. It goes like this. This is what I wanted. So I'm going to go off a screen share for a second. This is what I wanted right here. So the question is, are my actions consistent with what I wanted? That's the question back when I was 27 years old. So I asked myself, I knew what I wanted. I wanted what we're doing right now. So if I want this, I said, are my actions consistent in alignment? And I said, no. So my actions are down here, but this is what I want. So now I had a decision to make. And the decision was lower the goal or up the action. And I was in my head having this conversation with myself, sitting with myself, upset with what Tony told me, because who wants to hear give up on your dreams, right? Nobody wants to hear that. But I let go of my upset, and I just sat with, this is what I want. This is where my action is. My action has to be in alignment or it's not going to happen. And so it was a draw a line in the sand moment for me. And I made a decision in that moment. And here's what I said. I want this. I don't know if I'm going to create this now. Of course, I've created it now. It's happening in this moment. It happens in my life every day. I'm living my dream now, but I didn't know if that dream was going to become a reality. So here's what I said to myself. I don't know if this is going to happen, but I do know this. My action will be consistent with my goals, my vision, and my dreams. And so that's what I want you to consider right now. Over the last 30 days, if you're honest with yourself, I know you're up to something. You're up to big things because you're here. Only people that are up to big things are here, right? You know you have potential inside of you to perform at a higher level. So the question is, my question when I was 27 years old, if this is what you want, so put in your goal, are your actions in alignment with your goal, your vision, and your dreams? Or are you where I was? And if you're down here, now my question is, what are you going to do? Step up or lower the goal, right? And I want you to think back on the last 30 days. You don't have to type it into the chat. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to hit the hand raise button. Just think to yourself, honestly, have your actions been consistent over the last 30 days with your goal, your vision, and your dreams? And if the answer is no, that's okay. Today's a brand new day. It's the power in the present moment. There's a moment. Everything happens in the present moment. That's all we have. All we have is right now and right now. And so if in the past your actions, like for me, my actions were down here, but I made a decision to step up. And that day, a decision without action is not a decision. A decision without action is not a decision. So I made a decision and I followed through. And I stepped up and here we are. And now I got invited onto this call and have the opportunity to be with you guys tonight and to share this message with you, these ideas to help you to create the results that you want. So we do life in patterns. I like to drink coffee in the morning, and I drink my coffee with cream and 1 pump of cinnamon dolce. I get a piped coffee at Starbucks. So this morning at 6:30 in the morning when I was half asleep, but I went through the drive-thru and I was not even like awake and alert, and I ordered my coffee, grande pike, 1 cream and 1 pump of cinnamon dolce. Because we do life in patterns. We listen to the same music. We go to the same websites. We have routines of how we do life. So the question is your pattern creating you to take the actions that you're wanting to take in your life? So if you step back and go, I'm not taking the action that I know I need to, change the pattern. Change the pattern. Drink your coffee a different way. Try something new. Switch it up. Do something different in your life. And when you do something different, you're going to create a new result. We live into our story. You might have heard that before. So if your story is, I am a procrastinator, guess what? You're going to live into that story. I have a hard time following through on my goals. I'm a great starter, but I'm not a great finisher. As soon as I make the money, I spend it. We live into our story. So now the question is your story in alignment with your goal, your vision, and your dreams? And if it's not, create a new story. My story is I am a master of action. And I live into that story. And I live that story every single day. My story is I play at a 7, 8, 9, or a 10 on a scale of 1 to 10 every day. I play at a 7, 8, 9, or a 10 every day. My story is I'm the top sales trainer in the world. And it's not about what other people think. It's about me living into my own story. my story is I'm an international trainer. And I remember the first time I went over to Malaysia, back when I was 32 years old. And I was over there, and it's like, I'm here because I am an international trainer. When I went over to Singapore, when I went to Canada, I am an international trainer. Well, today there's people from all over the world on this Zoom. Now, this isn't about me. I'm not here to pound my chest and say, look at me. I'm here to role model for you around what's possible, because I'm a college dropout and a former cook at McDonald's. And I can honestly, truly tell you, I'm living my dream today in large part because of action. And I didn't have this back when I was in community college. I lacked clarity in my life. So I already mentioned this. Some of you might be living in the story. I am a procrastinator. Change begins in language. I have a hard time finishing projects. Change the language. Action is a skill set that can be learned. That's a very powerful idea. Some reasons we don't take action. One reason, Eric, I'm too busy. I'm too busy. This action I want to take, it's not a priority for me. Another reason we don't take action is fear. Always remember, fear and faith can't coexist. Fear and faith can't coexist. So if you're in fear, that means you're not in faith. If you're in fear, you're not in faith. If you're in fear and you get into faith, then the fear goes away. And this is a way to not necessarily 100% eliminate fear, but really reduce fear in your life. I used to live in a lot of fear. And then one day somebody said, Eric, fear and faith can't coexist. I was like, really? Huh. So if I'm in fear, if I step into faith, the fear goes away. Wow, that's a pretty cool distinction. One of the reasons we don't take action is it's something new. We tend to resist what's new. So if you're going to do a Facebook Live and you've never done a Facebook Live, you might resist it. Why? Because it's new. But all you have to do is just pull out your phone and press a button that goes live and you talk into it just like I'm talking to you right now. It's easy. But in our mind, we tend to resist what's new. So just check in with yourself. Am I resisting because it's new? Another reason that we don't take action, we don't have enough knowledge. I don't know how to do a Facebook Live. I don't know how to write a book. I don't know how to fill in the blank. Another reason we don't take action. Now, here's one of the solutions to this. Someone might say to me, Eric, I would like to do a Zoom to grow my business. I want to reach more people by doing like what we're doing right now. You can reach a global audience. I want to do a Zoom, but you go, but I don't know how to do it. Well, let me tell you how to do it. You book a Zoom, you invite a bunch of people, and you figure it out. Because you say, well, I don't know enough yet to do it. Well, the reality is part of learning is action. So if you say, I don't know enough to take action, in many cases, the learning happens from the action. The learning happens from the action. To motivate yourself, your brain loves deadlines. Your brain loves deadlines. So give yourself deadlines. My next book is due to come out in December. I have a deadline. The last day of December is my deadline for getting it all done. So I'm motivated. I'm in action because I have a deadline. Your brain loves deadlines. Focus on completion versus perfection. Another reason we don't take action is perfectionism. Eric, it's not good enough. I've written 15 books. I've written 0 perfect books. If my standard was perfection, I would have 0 books. And I've helped people by writing 15 books. Focus on completion versus perfection. That is a strategy to get yourself to take more action. So this is an invitation for you to no longer live in a story that doesn't serve you. Saying, I'm a procrastinator. Saying, I have a hard time getting myself to take action. Saying, I have a hard time getting started. That doesn't serve you. We all, through Landmark or other ways you've learned, we learn new ways of thinking to create the results that we want. Okay, here's your next golden nugget. Make it simple. So when I launched my company, I thought, I want to become an international trainer. I'm like, how am I going to do that? And here was my strategy. Give one speech a day. Just what I'm doing with you guys right now. Just, Eric, do this once a day. Now, we didn't have Zoom back then when I started. So I would usually go to a company and I would speak to their sales team, or I'd speak to a network marketing team, or I'd speak to a business group. And my goal every day was to go give one speech. So if you said, Eric, how are you going to become an international trainer? I'm going to give one speech a day from 1999 all the way to 2046. For 47 years, I'm going to give a speech a day. That's how I'm going to do it. And you go, you know what? If you actually did that, I can see how you could become an international trainer if you were that committed. Here's the key idea behind the story, and it's a true story. Look at how simple it was. So my fitness routine, 5,000 walking steps a day. That's my plan. I do other things, but the core of my plan, 5,000 walking steps a day. So if you make things simple, it can really help you in taking more action. I have a couple more ideas I want to share, and then we're going to open it up and we'll do some question and answer, or any shares that you'd like to share. And this distinction is called last productive day. So I have this app on my phone, and the app is called Final Countdown. So this is the app here, Final Countdown. And it's a count up or countdown app. So you just put dates in. So one of my dates is last productive day, September 12th, 2046. I'm not predicting the day I'm going to die. I'm just saying I plan on having energy to be doing like this until that date. So I have 9,457 days, 0 hours, 53 minutes, 30 seconds, no 29 seconds, no 28 seconds, no 27 seconds. And you can watch your life count down in front of your own eyes. And to me, that motivates me, because here's what this says to me. This date, here's what it says. Let's go. Eric, let's go. You have goals and dreams to pursue. Let's go. All we have is the present moment. So I can't take action in the future. The only place I can take action is in the moment. The only place I can make a decision is in the moment. All right? So last productive day reminds me, Eric, wake up with urgency. Wake up with urgency and go out there and have the impact that you are here, you are capable of having while you're here on planet Earth. And so every day I wake up with urgency, because I have a lot of things that I want to accomplish, an impact that I want to have while I'm here on planet Earth. So that's the last productive day. Next idea. Separate feeling from action. So somebody says, Eric, I don't feel like exercising today. So they don't exercise. Eric, I don't feel like prospecting. I don't feel like working on my book today. I don't feel like fill in the blank. And one of the great things about us as human beings is you don't have to feel like doing something to do it. So this morning, I got up at about 6:30. I didn't want to get up. I wanted to stay in bed. I didn't feel like getting up, but I got up. And there's times when I'm tired. There's times when I just don't want to do something. But what I learned is I don't have to want to do something to do it. And as human beings, we're really addicted to feeling good. You're in your car, you're driving around, and it's just a little hot out, just a little hot. And we turn on the air conditioner. We're driving around. It's just a little cold. We turn on that heater. And we are so conditioned to feeling good. And sometimes action doesn't feel good. Sometimes to meet that deadline, you got to stay up and work while you're tired. Sometimes you have to reach out to somebody to grow your business, and you might be uncomfortable reaching out because they're really successful. And we have these different times in our life where we have resistance to action. And so it's that resistance that stops us. if you think about the idea of a comfort zone, if I go out of the comfort zone, my natural instinct is to retreat. But watch this. Henry David Thoreau taught us this. Once the mind expands, it will never return to its original size. Thoreau taught us, once the mind expands, it will never return to its original size. So if you're uncomfortable with the idea of writing a book, but you want to write a book, my first book, I was uncomfortable, but I got it done, and then I went on to write 14 more. But the first book, I was uncomfortable. The book I'm writing now is like a piece of cake. I've written so many of them, it's easy. But that first one, it was uncomfortable, but my mind expanded, and I never went back to fear. I remember doing a webinar, like what we're doing here. This is Zoom, but it was a webinar years ago. I was afraid to do a webinar. And then I did it, and I was like, what was I afraid of? That was easy. Once the mind, this is profound. Once the mind expands, it's not my idea, it's Thoreau's idea. It'll never return to its original size. So it's about getting yourself to take action in the face of resistance, which is counterintuitive. Take action in the face of resistance, which is counterintuitive. All right? GSA. I'm going to teach you something very simple, but there's a power to the simplicity. This stands for goal, strategy, action. Goal, strategy, action. We've all heard of goal setting. We've all heard of writing down a strategy or having a strategy. We've all heard of taking action. The power is in the combination. Goal. Clearly define what you want and write it down. So if I said to you, your most important goals, are they clear and are they written down? Some of you would say yes, some of you would say no. All right? Now, those clear goals that are written down, do you have a clear strategy? And is the strategy written down? Some of you would say yes, some of you would say no. For those of you that have clear written goals with a clear written strategy, are you taking massive action on a daily basis? Some of you are, some of you aren't. So if you don't have clearly defined written goals, make a decision for the things that are the most important in your life. The most important goals in your life. One of mine is to build a $6 million company. So that's my goal. Build a $6 million annual sales training company, annual revenue. I have a clearly defined written strategy, and I take massive action on a daily basis. This isn't about me. This is about you. So write your goals down, get your strategy clear, and write it down, and then go out and take massive action on a daily basis on your most important goals. Goal, strategy, action. So my last thing is simply an invitation. I have a bunch of YouTube videos, and I'd love to send you 5 videos, 5 minutes or less on each video that have specific distinctions like what I taught you here tonight. And just email me. That's my personal email address. I'll just reply back and I'll send it to you. It's just a little extra gift for you guys to enjoy. My email, eric@ericlofholm.com. If you send me an email, I'll send you those I'll email you back with 5 great videos. I want to turn it over to our moderator and open up the call for any sharing. If anybody would like to ask a question or share what they got, or maybe you had a breakthrough or a decision that you made. So let's bring our moderator on.
Okay, let's see. Let's see who wants to have any questions. This is a golden opportunity to ask Eric, pick his brain. Eric, you're always so inspiring.
Thank you.
I learn so much every time listening to you.
Did anybody have an aha, something you realized, a decision you made? You're like, I'm going to step up. I'm going to write my goals down. I'd love for you to come on out and share. Or if you have a question that you want to ask, come on out and ask a question.
Okay, Jeff Chu.
Yeah.
Vancouver.
Right. Okay. My question is, how am I going to, take some action from the very beginning when, in a very delay mood, when the business is not running so well, it's closing down, and how I'm going to overcome the feelings, to take the action.
Yeah. Well, one thing with the COVID-19 and all that's been going on, we are under trauma. and it's real trauma, and it's not something to be diminished. And if any of you are feeling that level of trauma, it is something to really think through, because you may be in a place right now where you are going to need to deal with some of those things, and it might not be the time to go out and take massive action, because it is a real trauma that you're facing. One form of action, if you are shutting a business down, that is a form of action. All the steps that you need to take in order to shut that business down. Working through your feelings could be another form of action. Taking time to process what it is that you've gone through. And then at some point, sometimes it's a time to rest. And sometimes it's a time to walk. And sometimes it's a time to run. And sometimes it's a time to sprint. And it's understanding what season you're in. And right now it might be a season, your action might be just kind of stepping back and processing what's going on, working through some of this very real trauma that we're facing. Be kind to yourself and have compassion and understanding for the circumstances that you're facing. And that's my best short answer that I can give you to the question that you asked.
Thank you, Eric.
You're welcome.
Okay. Thank you, Jeff. Genie, I see your hands up. Genie from New York.
Hi, Eric. Thank you very much. I do learn very useful tricks from you today, and inspired as well. My question is, why are we addicted to deadline? I'm not. Yeah, that part. Why
You're not addicted to what?
Why are we addicted to the deadlines?
Oh, the addiction part's not necessarily the deadline. It's just a way to motivate us. So if your cell phone didn't have a due date, the bill, when would we pay the cell phone bill if there was no due date? We might not pay it, right? Because there's no due date. So the way, it's just probably the way our culture is, our brain is used to responding to deadlines. Right, the election's coming up here, those of you that live in the US. And so you can vote anytime between now and I think the 4th of November, 3rd of November, whatever the deadline is. And so a lot of people are gonna go do that because they're gonna respond to the deadline. And so we've got these different deadlines. And if you can look at a goal that you have and attach a deadline to it, it can be something that can really motivate you in order to hit, a certain production, or fitness, or, I have the house I'm in right now, my wife and I got this property as a lease option. And a lot of you are familiar with that term. And if you're not, it basically means we have the right to buy the property at a future date. And so it's coming up in March. And the property went up $60,000. So if we don't execute on the option, we miss out. So we're motivated, right? We're going to execute on this option. Well, we're going to do everything in our power in order to do that. And so that deadline is very motivating, and it happens to have a reward with it because the increase in value, at least up to this point. So it's just, it's a tool that we can tap into that can really help motivate us.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks for sharing.
Shall we have some tea time?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's take a sip of your tea. This is high tea, after all. So next we got Owen from New York. Owen?
Thank you. So first of all, thank you, Eric. I found your talk very inspirational, and I feel like a lot of these things I know these things, but you sometimes forget on a day-to-day basis. So it was great to hear it laid out, and sometimes making it simple is the thing that makes it attainable. It just sounds like I should be able to do this. One of the questions I did have for you, however, is one of the things I have is I have a lot of things on I sometimes feel like I'll have a lot of things on my plate. And how do you deal with, like, prioritizing your actions. Like, you know, I sometimes feel like it's almost like a juggling act when I take care of my finances and my family life goes down, then I go and take care of my family life, and then suddenly my business goes down. And like, it's like I can never keep all the balls up in the air. How do you deal with something like that? Any tips?
Yeah, you probably do have a lot on your plate, right? And a lot of people on this call probably do. I know I do as well, because we're goal oriented. We believe in our abilities and what we can accomplish. And I think the word you said is really the key word, which is to prioritize. And not all ideas are created equal. And so if you can really take some time and think about what's going to move the needle, like that's a question that you can ask yourself to really tune into, of all these things that I've got going right now, what is it that is going to move the needle? And in my business, I do these speeches like what we're doing here, and I've been doing them for all these years, and I got my business to a certain place. If my business is here, I want it here. And I've worked and I've done all these speeches, and it's like the way I'm going to do it up here is probably going to be through paid advertising. So I have to pivot and I have to do something new, but I resist it. Why? Because it's new. Okay. So I have to be a student of my own teaching and get myself to do the paid ads, which creates leverage. So there's people in my industry that they have much bigger businesses, but they're not out speaking like I am. They're leveraging, in this case, paid ads. And so it's taking a step back and going, what's the paid ad strategy for you? What's really going to move the needle? And the mindset of a high performer is they let go of lower producing activities and they replace them with higher producing activities. But we tend to do the pattern. So what's my pattern? I go out and speak all the time. I love this, right? This is what I love doing. And the paid ads is like, well, I'm not very good at it because I've never done it, and it's new and it's kind of scary. And so I have to really work on not, yes, speak, but let go of some of the speeches and then replace it up here. And so that's what I'm working on, right? And it's all about, we can intellectually understand it, but it's about doing the execution of the idea to pull that result into reality.
Got it.
Awesome.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. That's
You're
great.
welcome.
Hey, wonderful. How about Yin Lu? Where are you from, Yin Yin?
I live in Hong Kong. I'm from China.
Welcome.
Hi. Yeah, the question I have for Eric is that, so I joined late, but I hear you said the goal, strategy, and action. One pattern I found for myself is that, yeah, I do have a clear goal, and I have like spent a lot of time working on my planning as well. But in terms of get down to the real action, so there's always something happen on either my physical conditions or my emotions that at the time I'm supposed to do something to take the action, but I just don't want to, or I just feel so tired, and just there's like external conditions that prevents me from taking the action. So how can I deal with this problem?
Yeah. So I'm going to give you my take on what you just said, and I want to see if you can really get this. All right. So this is being recorded. And if you went back and listened to the recording and you listened to the story that you're speaking into, right? So the story is essentially, I want to take the action, but I'm unable to do it because of this, this, and this. But the problem is that's not what you want.
It's not what I want. Okay.
What you want is to take the action, correct?
Yes.
So how could you?
But I also want to be, maybe what I want is not only taking action, but also comfortably taking the action.
Okay. Well, I didn't say comfortable and action are together. Okay. So what I would do is I would sit with that thought about comfortable and action. For example, when you do a shower, do you normally do a hot shower or a cold shower?
Warm shower.
Yeah, most people do a warm shower, right? Because who wants to do a cold shower because it's cold and it's uncomfortable? But we could do a cold shower, right? It is a possibility. And so, but most people don't. And I've done a few of them in my life, but usually I do the warm shower too, because who wants to do a cold shower? But we have the ability to do the cold shower. And so maybe just explore taking some action when it's uncomfortable for you. So you can develop a muscle where it's like so many people, the second they feel a little uncomfortable, then they're out. Like if I just feel just a little uncomfortable, like the water's just a little cold, I'm out, right? It's just a little hot out, and so I got to turn the air conditioner on. And so you can just try taking some action, even if you don't feel like doing it. And I think what you'll find is you can get yourself to take quite a bit of action where the old you would have said, nope, just a little uncomfortable, I'm out. And instead of being a little uncomfortable out, you like raise your tolerance of what you can endure. Now, it's not like punishing yourself. It's if you want to write a book, for example, and you need to write it tonight, you need to write 15 minutes and you're tired, but you could push through it. You could push through it, you could write for 15 minutes, and then you get this sense of accomplishment. Hey, I did it. And so it's like raising our threshold for what we can tolerate to go for our goals and our dreams. And it's a pretty broad concept. Like take like money, like instead of spending it on this or that, invest it. It's shift in thinking, but I'd have to sacrifice. So we learn, okay, I want to sacrifice. That's my share for you on that one.
Okay, cool, got it.
All right.
Thank you.
Hey, let's have Xiaomi from Beijing. Xiaomi. Xiaomi, are you there?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, but this is all right. Hi everyone. Hello, Eric. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right. I just want to thank you first of all. I was also present at your previous presentation. It was also very motivating. Thank you very much. I love the idea when you make us to think what motivates us every day and what is holding us back. The fact that it was motivating me starting in the morning was that life is short, right? I want to make use of my time left, just like counting down time. And what is holding me back is some of the stories that I run for myself, some of the stereotypes I have against myself. For example, I want to lose some weight, right? But I know I'm not that kind of a self-discipline. When I eat, I can't stop. So I have this idea that even if I try, it's not gonna work. So that is actually stopping me from doing or taking actions because I know I'm not getting there. So how can is there any advice for you to let me to drop that kind of stereotype against myself? Thank you, Eric.
Well, as long as you say when I eat, I can't stop, then you're right. So that's kind of the end of the conversation. Now, the question is that what you want? Okay, how can you say it different?
So many times, it doesn't work.
Well, how can you say it? Let me say it like this. So in the, what country are you from?
China.
Okay.
Beijing, China.
All right. So what's the currency? So in the US, it's $1. What's the currency over there?
RMB.
Okay. And what would be
RMB.
What would be a really large amount of money in your currency? How much would that be?
In terms of US dollar. In terms of US dollar.
Just for, how would you say it in your country? I would say $100,000 US is a lot of money. So you would say, what would be a lot of money for you?
10,000 yuan.
Okay. So I'll give you that much money. Okay, let's go with that.
Yes.
I'll give you that much money if you can say the story differently. So can you say the story differently or you wouldn't collect the money?
Why do you want me to tell a different story?
Only if you want. if you want a different story, if you want a different result, you got to change the story. But if you're okay with your story, that's okay. I'm not saying you have to change.
Okay. Okay. Of course, I want to get that goal, right? Just wanted to give myself some power to do so.
Okay, so if the
Instead
story
of
is
convincing myself to do it, I can
okay, if the story is I can't get myself to stop eating, if that's the story, what's a more empowering story you could live into?
I can do it. I don't know.
It could be that simple. It could be that simple. I can get down to the healthy weight of my choice. It could be that. It's I can make better food choices. It could be that. It could be I can make the food choices to create a healthy life for myself. And you create a new story and you say it different.
That's what you said. Live in the story, right? Live in the story that I imagine for myself. Like it is possible. It's not absolutely not possible. It's possible. Is that what you're saying?
It is possible. I'm here doing an international training because I declared at age 28, I'm 50 now. At 28, I said, I am an international trainer. And nobody had heard of me. So it's like, but here I am. How did that happen?
You're very professional.
I declared it. I declared I'm an international trainer. But you are powerful just like me in your way for your life. So you declare what you want it to be.
Got it. Okay. All I need to do is create that possibility that I can do it, right?
Yes, and you can
live with that.
You can do it. That's the whole thing. You can learn whatever you need to learn food-wise, nutrition-wise, discipline-wise. It's all within your grasp if you're committed to it.
Okay.
It's your choice.
All right, I got it. Thank you very much, Eric. Got it.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Thanks for the share.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, Xiaomi. Yes, and our time is up. We're having fun and time flies. Let's give a hand to Eric.
Thank you.
Acknowledge you, Eric, for always so inspiring and so uplifting for everyone that you come in, give speech to. And so Eric will stay around for another 5 minutes or so after we end the show. So I just want to thank all our team members who make this happen. Our technical director, George from San Jose, and Norman from Chicago, translating to Cantonese, and Clara from Singapore, translating to Mandarin, and Julie, my co-partner, for hosting this show. So thank you all for being with us today. And our next show is actually on Halloween, Saturday at 5:30 Pacific time. And so now I will declare the show end of it, and the translation will end here. And you're welcome to stay for another 5 minutes, and at which time we'll clear the room for our completion meeting. Thank you very much. Thank you, Eric.
You're welcome.
Again.
Thank you. Join our
多謝
Facebook
Eric.
group, High Tea. Yeah.